Hello, everyone. Dr. Val, and I'm back to discuss a really important topic, and it's all about getting off of our phones to help you get more sleep at night. So, if you find yourself scrolling on your phone late at night, I've been there. I do it quite often myself, even with all I know about sleep. Sometimes it's hard to change habits. I'm there with you, but it is something that can really impact the quality of sleep that you're having. And if you really want to feel better, have a better life, something to consider. So today we'll explore some of the reasons why we are addicted to our phones and how to actually break free from the screen at night to be able to get better sleep. So, what is the impact of screen time for our lives, specifically our mental health? And a lot of it is just stress reduction. So, research shows that those of us who rely on screens for really entertainment or even connecting with people such as social networking can show up to 19% of folks have more stress than those who don't, like especially if those of us who just use screens for work. Another thing to consider is, people who are on the screens more have more depression, anxiety. And there's also, the term FOMO, fear of missing out, and often a common reason why people are on social networking sites because they maybe don't want to miss out on something that their friends or family may be doing. So that knowing why you're on a screen may be helpful. Is it just a coping mechanism to deal from something that perhaps you're avoiding? And sometimes that's a little bit harder to work through, right? It's certainly easier to be on your phone. And the people who create some of the apps that we go on have been really good at creating the algorithm, the science behind it to keep us on the app and keep us addicted to it. But beyond that, being on a phone, on a screen before your bedtime is associated with sleeping later, right? Or having shorter sleep. Definitely, I'm right there with you. Some of these shows that are available are very binge worthy, and sometimes I just find myself losing track of time. And when that happens, it just really impacts my sleep. Ideally, this is more of a Friday night or Saturday night thing where I am not able, or I am able to sleep in a little bit later. But yeah, so being on the phone sometimes just compromises our quality of sleep that we get. And, we all need really good sleep. We'll talk a little bit about blue light. So, blue light is emitted from our smartphones, our tablets, which can interact with our natural hormone, the melatonin that helps put us into sleep because that hormone's released in response to darkness. So, if you can do something that avoids screens, certainly better, especially for us who may be a little bit more night owls or we're trying to stick to a more regular routine. Avoiding light at night can be helpful. So, what are the actionable tips, right? The reason why you're here, how do we break this cycle? Well, number one is really being mindful of how much time you actually are spending on your phone, right? There are ways through our smartphones to actually track this time. If you're on a tablet or a computer, potentially there are apps to do this as well. Sometimes I suggest for folks to put your phone into a focus mode where if you don't realize, if you're not mindful how long you've been on an app because they just keeps going and going, right? The next show, the next show, the next show, you can actually have limits preset so that you have that built in, those boundaries. Another thing to consider is setting up a screen curfew, right? What time do you want to go to bed? Can you cut off your screen time an hour before that and to create a really relaxing wind down routine? Maybe some things that conclude for your wind down routine are reading a good book. This is a book all about menopause called Impart. Another option may be an adult coloring book, right? So avoiding things that take too much light. You can still have maybe a lamp that's not that bright and you can color in, have just a really relaxing routine. If you are needing to be on your phone, consider putting it into that nighttime mode. It has more of that amber orangey hue, takes away from that blue light and white light, something to consider. Another thing is if you possibly can is actually keep your phone out of your bedroom, charge it in a different room. I can tell you I'm not there yet, but I don't always have my phone right next to me. Sometimes I have it on my desk, which is not within arm's reach. So, if you aren't falling asleep, sometimes it's almost habit to grab your phone. If it makes it harder, if it's on the opposite side of the room for you to grab it. another thing to consider is, can you replace screen time with alternative activities? So something to consider is, something that doesn't take too much light, but also build these activities throughout your daytime so you're not too stressed or anxious when it does come time to sleep. Making a hobby like making bracelets, right? You can make these really cool bracelets and give them to your friends, or sell them online. That could actually maybe turn into something really cool. Or you can have some exercise bands where you can start stretching, right? Stretching is really good. If you can relax any tension in your body, it can also help relax tension in your mind as well. So just come up with alternative activities to help sort of improve our emotional states, right? Because sometimes, if we're really busy throughout the day, we haven't had any downtime for ourselves, it's really easy to be on our phone. We could lay in bed, it's comfortable, you hit that button, all we have to do is consume that information. But, if you can do something that you really enjoy, like having a new hobby, reading a book, stretching your body, can be really, really helpful. And if those things aren't working and you're still struggling to get off your phone, it may be time to see a therapist who is trained in maybe phone addiction, or you can go through a cognitive behavioral therapy to take a look at those thoughts that you have in and around sleep and see if that's something that needs to be addressed within a sort of professional relationship. Yeah, so I hope you found these tips helpful. By really making some small changes to your nighttime habits, you can notice yourself improve the quality of your sleep. And I always recommend to do this quite slowly. Can you set that phone curfew 5-10 minutes before your desired bedtime? Ideally, up to an hour, but right, baby steps makes it easier. If we can break that habit down into small, simple, palatable steps, it certainly makes it a lot easier, and it's more sustainable in the long term. So, all right, folks and ladies, thanks for watching. If you are struggling to get off your phone at night and you have found something that's worked for you, please let us know in the comments below. Until next time, sleep well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.